Oh, sorry guys, I'm moving my camera. Okay, that's a little better. Hey guys, so I am just making my video for the parts that I thought were the best in chapter 5. I really actually thought the whole thing was very interesting. It's really neat to learn and to know about um like how much their brains and the kids' brains and how much how hard they are working and how everything is connecting to just be able to read anything or be able to speak correctly. I think it's really, really interesting, all the stuff that goes into it, like behind the scenes, because when you just look at a child reading, you're thinking, okay, sound out the sound out this, but there's about 40 other different layers that need to be happening before they're able to do that. So I think that is a really, really big and interesting part of this. It kind of makes me want to learn a little bit more about like speech therapy and stuff, and why children who need speech therapy don't, like, why is this not working for them. It's really interesting, and I really would like to find that out actually. But so I'm just gonna choose kind of my favorite parts that I thought of the book. Let me go back to what I was just on it. Sorry, I have to find it. Well, now I lost it. Okay, well, I'll just start with the one that I can remember off the top of my head. I can't think of the words. So the first idea that I like to help with children reading and be able to pronounce sounds correctly and connect words to different items is the use of a word wall. We start using these in preschool. I have one in my classrooms. I list the children from their names, and I start them from, obviously, from alphabetical order. So that way they can connect, like, oh, my name is Stella. So I start with an S sound, and I'm going to be more towards the end because my name is Stella and S is at the end of the alphabet. So I really like using that, and then it's also really useful, a useful tool for just anything. If they can't remember a word, but they know that it was on the word wall and they can remember how to spell it, maybe you can refer them back to that if it's not like a quiz or something, obviously. Um, they could add to it. If they learn a new word over the weekend, they could come into the classroom and say, I learned the word um, delicious this weekend. Like, that's a big word depending on the age of the child, obviously. So that would be a really great thing to have the word wall for, also, is for them to be able to add new words that they have learned how to pronounce correctly, and that they have learned how to write down, and that they have learned how to sound out and kind of are learning the syllables also in that. Yeah, so I really, really like the use of a word wall. Um, I also like, throughout this chapter, I like all of the different lessons that it has and how it kind of goes into pretty good detail on the lessons. Like, for example, let me see. Now I gotta find it again. I must have gotten all mixed up. Sorry, guys. So, like, for example, lesson 5.2, sorting by beginning consonant sounds. And it lists, obviously, the adjectives. Students will distinguish between words according to their beginning sounds. And it goes into detail on each thing that you can do and are supposed to do to help these children learn that skill. And I think these lessons are really interesting to look at, because you could definitely use them for future reference when we're actually inside of a classroom teaching children. So I'm definitely going to be referring back to this book for reminders on what to do, because I feel like maybe when you're in the middle of teaching, I mean, at least from my preschool perspective, sometimes you get totally lost as to, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I actually supposed to be, what am I doing? And it's a nice to go back and have this reminder of, okay, this is what we're doing, this is how we do it, and let's lay it all out. So I think that's also a really great thing in the chapters. And then I'm sorry, guys. What was the other thing? I cannot remember for the life of me. This is not a wonderful presentation, so I apologize. Um, okay, did the word wall. That's right. There was one more thing, but I really. Okay, I may have to come back to it because I mean, really, those other things were probably my definite like favorites. Was getting to apply those. Oh, I also like this part too. You know what? We'll uh do this because I also like this part, but this wasn't what I was going to talk about. But now that I completely have lost my train of thought, I'm going to talk about this one. Okay. So, using predictable books with children. Um, like for example, you start a book during the week, and it's a book that you are going to use to teach phonics, teach syllables, for example. Let's just use syllables to narrow it down. You're going to use that book to teach syllables. While you're reading that story, you're going to want those children, the first time is going to be just the first time they read it. They may have never heard it, and that's okay. But you're going to continue to repeat that story and read it again, and then maybe have the children read it back to you, and then maybe have the children participate, have the children read it by themselves. So they're going to get very familiar with that book, and they're going to be able to pick out the letters that they're supposed to be learning. They should be able to clap out the syllables or however you want to do it. They should be able to begin learning how to like decode the text and like context clues, kind of little snippets here and there. Just having a predictable book is, something that the children are going to know and remember. And it's going to be, so if I would feel like if you're going to pick a predictable book, make it at least a fun one. Don't make it some boring, like, I don't know, just some boring book that nobody likes. Do one that's exciting, and that way they'll want to continue to learn about it and want to continue to read about it, because I think that's really important to help obviously learning how to read. Some kids might not have the drive to do so, so you're going to have to extra push them, not in a bad way, that sounds bad. You're going to have to help them in different ways and give them extra drive to be able to do it, and let them know that they can do it and it will get better. Okay, well, those were kind of my overall favorite parts. I really like the whole chapter. I think it's super duper interesting. But yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Bye.